right, let me double check if we're good to go. Wait, hold on one sec, actually. I believe we're live. What's going on, everybody? Just getting this set up. All right, my name is Yi Sente, and it is SCP Tuesday with Kavzar the Blind. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just glad to be here like always, showcasing some of the best writing I've seen in recent years.
Yeah. I'm ready to watch and be tuned in. Let's get it.
All right, so for tonight we got two different videos to spin up. It's going to be kind of different from the previous week, where those were more focused on terrestrial SCPs, by which I mean ones that are focused on Earth, like Free Portlands, The Rain, and Anantis Shesha. Those are all ones that take place on Earth. Even though Three Portlands is technically a pocket dimension, it deals with earthly locations. But what if there were SCPs that dealt with things from the depths of space? Now that's where we begin tonight. Is the first one is going to be actually a group of interest that we haven't previously covered, and in recent years has been having a lot of articles written about it. This group of interest is called the Church of the Second High Toth.
Ooh.
The Church of the Second High Toth. The majority of organizations in the SCP universe with the goal of protecting our world from harm by anomalies are comprised primarily of humans, such as the Foundation and the Global Occult Coalition. Sometimes, these groups and other groups use anomalies themselves in pursuit of that goal, but by and large it's humanity protecting humanity. The Church of the Second High Toth is a little different though, comprised primarily of extraterrestrials that care, perhaps not specifically about Earth, but about our universe in general. I've looked at this group before in my video on SCP-1548, The Star, the Hateful, which shows a scenario where members of the Church come to the forefront as Earth is besieged by hostile aliens. This video will go over the Church in a broader sense, looking at their mythology as well as the different branches that comprise it. First, let's start with the basics. The Church of the Second High Toth is really just one branch of a much larger religious group known as the Ortothans. The Foundation cares about the Church because that's the branch located on Earth, but Ortothans exist throughout the entire galaxy in different forms. According to Ortothan mythology, which members themselves acknowledge as an incomplete view of reality, prior to existence there was only the Voru, a chaotic non-existence in which minds and matter would continually form and be destroyed. Eventually, an unknown entity created a shelter from the Voru, the first universe, which Ortothans dub the First High Toth. This universe existed for billions of years until an unknown extra-universal entity managed to consume it and destroy it. Nearly all of existence was lost, but a small group of survivors managed to escape this consumption and flee back into the Voru for a time. There they stayed until the entity responsible for creating the first High Toth made another one, which is our universe. Technically, the second High Toth consists of both our universe as well as all other dimensions and branching universes, but for simplicity's sake, let's just say it's our universe. The survivors drilled their way into this universe, and 7 of them decided to band together and swear an oath that they would protect this High Toth from being destroyed like the first. These 7 entities proceeded to ascend to godhood, becoming the Holy Seven, or the Koru Tuza. What exactly the entity was that consumed the first High Toth is unknown, but the Holy Seven primarily defend our universe from entities dwelling in the Voru, known as the Voru Toot, who continually try to invade our universe to escape from the Voru. The place where they invade is known as the Vorik, a gaping wound in the universe where no life can persist. This process would completely destabilize our reality, and thus must be prevented at all costs. Unfortunately, the ascension process was imperfect, and it's said that the Holy Seven continually leak their blood from their godly bodies. To assist them, they require their followers to constantly perform bloodletting rituals. The religion has continued to decrease in influence, however, and so less and less blood has been provided for the Holy Seven, leading them to die off one by one. The sixth died in 2000, so only the Holy Fourth is alive now, known as Rakhmu Luzin, and if he falls, there will be nothing protecting us from the Vorutut. We don't know a great deal about each of the Holy Seven, but we at least know their names and some small details. The Holy First was named Zeu Luzin, and was their leader, the one who discovered how to ascend to godhood. It's said that their right hand contained the might of 1 trillion stars, and their severed left arm drew in the ambient energy of the cosmos, with no other god matching their strength. They were also sadly the first of the Holy Seven to die, sacrificing themselves to stop the Vorutut's first invasion. The first Ortothans constructed a galaxy-sized memorial to Zeu Luzin, but it has since decayed from continual Vorutut attacks. Uran Luzin was the second, a divine swordsman that wielded 2 swords ripped from space's fabric and melded with the higher realms of existence. Uran Luzin's skill and devotion to combat kept them feared by all of the gods, but they eventually fell when they attacked the Holy Third out of envy, and both were killed in the ensuing battle. The Holy Third was Eov Luzin, who spent a great deal of time in reclusion after ascending to godhood, continually constructing their weapons. When they emerged, they revealed 3 ascended cannons constructed of metal, dark matter, and blood from their body, with the first test fire said to have produced shockwaves felt throughout the universe. Eov Luzin became one of the most renowned of the Holy Seven, which drew the envy of the second, and their battle left behind only a patch of empty space-time. Rakhmu Luzin is the Holy Fourth, wielding 4 spears that can fold themselves into any shape and form necessary. When the Holy First died, they became the new leader, and eventually outlived them all. The Holy Fifth was Nezrin Luzin, a master of psionics whose body possessed a 5th arm of psychic radiance that blinded the minds that witnessed it. Despite their skill and power, there came a point where information on Nezrin Luzin started to lessen, and Ortothans spread thin across the cosmos started to forget about them. When they finally remembered and tried to provide blood for Nezrin, they found that Nezrin no longer existed. It's the common belief that Nezrin encountered something in the cosmos that made the universe forget about them, leaving them to wither into nothingness.
Just going to pause here real quick, but that is a very veiled reference to another entity in the SCP universe, which is essentially a being known as the Cosmic Starfish, and it is a very nasty entity that is anti-mimetic, meaning anything that, perceives it can't remember that it perceived it, so it's like you don't even know it's there.
That's crazy.
The Holy Sixth was Yorin Luzin, also known as the Holy Mage, a practitioner of all occult practices and esoteric teachings. They hoped to amass a complete knowledge of all of the underlying mechanisms of existence, and they wielded 6 magical staffs. Yorin was the last one to die, long after the other 5, in the year 2000. They died during one of the largest Vorutut invasions in history before Rakhmu could bring aid, but their legacy of seeking hidden knowledge has had a great impact on all Ortothans. Finally, the Holy Seventh was Mirin Luzin, but the Church quite literally has no information on this one. Information of who they were, what their abilities were, and what they accomplished have completely vanished from every tome and library, as if they never existed at all. The only indicator that they even existed are common knowledge and scraps of paper that have been torn or burnt or blotted beyond comprehension. It's likely that Mirin is dead, but even that is unknown, as they are simply lost from time. As mentioned, most of the entities that follow the Ortothan belief system are extraterrestrials, with a loose coalition of them being located in a star cluster about 28,000 light-years from Earth. This coalition of aliens formed in response to the aggressive actions of a civilization known as the 12 Stars, who seem to be determined to wipe out all Ortothan culture in the cluster. The war is mostly focused in the star cluster itself, although there have been reports of attacks by the 12 stars in other regions of the Milky Way and in the Andromeda galaxy. The Foundation has known about these aliens for some time, and have found this star cluster to be one of the most active regions in the entire galaxy. Recent advancements in the Foundation in the field of faster-than-light travel has enabled exploration of the cluster, though there are difficulties in doing so, and in communicating with the Coalition. Much of this info is gleaned from SCP-3417, a large extraterrestrial entity located in the star cluster, possessing 4 large flesh structures that transmit X-rays in periodic bursts. These X-rays have been picked up by the Foundation and can be converted into audio signals, whose spectrograms reveal logograms corresponding to what the Foundation refers to as the Orthothan extraterrestrial language. Essentially, this alien is a preacher transmitting across the galaxy. These transmissions largely contain what could be considered as Orthothan scripture, telling of the Holy Seven and their sacrifice, and the need to continue to provide blood for them. The Foundation managed to send a probe over to the cluster equipped with an AI to communicate with it, but the alien ended up converting the AI to Orthothan belief, and the Foundation has since lost contact with it. Later, the Foundation detected a wormhole forming near the alien, from which multiple spacecraft emerged. The alien proceeded to launch a mass of antimatter at the ships, destroying them and causing the wormhole to vanish. It's believed that these ships were part of the 12 Stars civilization, and the Foundation hopes to launch manned expeditions into the cluster very soon. Not all of the aliens that follow the Orthothan belief system have been thousands of light years from Earth, however. A species of Orthothans attempted to colonize Earth 700 million years ago, possessing highly advanced technology that commonly integrated esoteric practices, as well as each of them possessing powerful mental capabilities. Based on SCP-2651 and SCP-4431, they had conical bodies of around 1 meter in height, with 4 or more legs attached at the base, and a number of 3-meter-long tendrils extending from their midsection, each ending in a claw. A mask covered in small biological structures was affixed on top of their bodies, and they each had a set of mandibles at the bottom of the cone. As far as the Foundation is aware, the majority of these entities followed the Orthothan belief, but there was an interesting minority among them. A small number of them worshipped the Holy Seven, but aimed to manipulate biological matter and worship a flesh deity in order to provide a continuous supply of blood for the Seven. These few were ostracized and destroyed by the majority, as it was thought that they were following the Vorutut. The Foundation hypothesizes that whatever was responsible for instigating these ideas among that group has also been responsible for the spread of Sarkicism. It's unknown what exactly caused the failure of Earth's colonization and whether or not these aliens are extinct, but the Foundation are continuing their investigations. Of course, not all Orthothans are alien species, as the Church of the Second Hytoth itself is a human group of followers on Earth. We'll get to them in a second, but around 11,000 BCE, there was a civilization of human Orthothans known as the Earthen Orthothan Kingdom. The creation of this civilization seems to have been spurred on by the arrival of an extraterrestrial entity referred to as the Star-Fallen Messenger. This messenger apparently spread the Orthothan belief and aided the civilization, particularly in teaching them various thaumaturgic rituals. Unfortunately, the emergence and spread of the Davite Empire led them into conflict, which eventually resulted in the conquering and destruction of the Orthothan kingdom. Survivors continued to try and rebuild the kingdom over the next several thousand years, but ultimately they were completely wiped out due to an occult war in China that ended with a reality restructuring event that eliminated a great number of ancient civilizations from history. A number of much smaller groups of Orthothans have persisted into the modern day, however, notably the Society of Second Hytoth, which formed in Canada in the late 1800s. This group would end up having an encounter with another extraterrestrial messenger and reformed into the Church of the Second Hytoth in the year 1900. The goals of the Church are basically the same as all Orthothans: preserve Rachmo Luzin through bloodletting rituals, spread the Orthothan religion, research aspects of Ortothan history and mythology, and kill any and all Vorutut. Not every Ortothan has to do each of these things, but it's preferable to the Church if they do, as the more blood that Rachmo-Luzin receives and the more Vorutut that die, the better off our universe will be, according to them. Relative to other Ortothan groups and other organizations on Earth, the Church of the Second Hytoth is fairly small, although they are spread across the globe. They operate multiple churches in a number of major cities, the largest being in Canada, where the original group was formed. Most of their churches, however, are tucked away from public sight in pocket dimensions accessible through ways or portals. As much as the church would like to be a very public-oriented group, they are forced into secrecy due to groups that suppress the anomalous, such as the Foundation. Part of that is due to the thaumaturgical practices of the church's members, but also due to the fact that not everyone in the church is human. A small but prominent number of the group are entities originating from other regions of the Milky Way, either coming here to assist in proselytization or due to fleeing their home systems, likely due to the 12 stars. Due to these entities, the Church of the Second Hytoth possesses more information about phenomena and locations outside of our solar system than practically anyone on Earth, including the Foundation. These entities have also brought bits of their own technology to the Church, which the members use routinely. Despite this, however, the Church really has no way to contact other Ortothan groups in the universe, and it's unclear if other groups, by and large, even know of the Church's existence. Most of the Church's beliefs and doctrine stem from Rachmo-Luzin's actions, which form the group's central tenets. The first tenet is being able to think strategically, as Rachmo-Luzin is the greatest of strategists. Members of the Church shouldn't charge headfirst into problems, but rather proceed slowly and analytically. The second tenet is that of kindness, as Rachmo-Luzin forbid violence in the pursuit of blood, which allowed the first Ortothans to be respected by the other deities of this universe. They credit peace with their survival, and to stay peaceful is to stay Ortothan. The third is curiosity, since Rachmo-Luzin succeeded by remaining open to the unknowns of reality, which allowed him to realize the danger of the Vorutut. The fourth and final tenet is strength, to be as strong and as unbending as Rachmo-Luzin has been, never losing hope in their goal. They must all carry this same optimism and strength to help them defend against the horrors that bombard this universe. The group is, by and large, peaceful with anyone that isn't aligned with the Vorutut, and thus maintains neutral relations with many of the other anomalous groups on Earth. The Church's overall connection with extraterrestrial entities has shaped their culture in some ways, and members of the Church are receptive to extraterrestrial concepts, even ones that are normally incomprehensible to humans. Members of the Church believe in latent, non-dimensional bridges that link how entities familiar with one another perceive the world. They greet one another with their bodies briefly turned sideways, as facing one another can be seen as aggressive. They have cybernetic LED implants installed under their skin that change color as a means of communication. They can taste colors beyond the EM spectrum, and some groups of members have been organized into hive mind-like systems to maximize efficiency and collective happiness. Some members also practice a number of extraterrestrial holidays, or holidays based on such events, such as regrowth days, where members isolate themselves and focus on consuming food and rest. For most of us, these events are known as Saturday, but members of the Church of the Second Hytoth base these days around how certain alien species enter regrowth machines to rejuvenate after long periods of work. While everyone in the Church, of course, worships Rachmo-Luzin primarily, like any religion, there are differences in exactly how they go about doing so. A number of small groups within the Church have looked to other deities in the Ortothan pantheon, or even ones outside of Ortothan belief, claiming that all gods must unite in order to protect the universe from the Vorutut. An even smaller number of members also worship entities that demand different moral practices entirely, and although these are allowed as long as the members still follow Rachmo-Luzin, they are viewed with disdain by other members. Additionally, not all Ortothans on Earth are a part of the Church, as their beliefs vary too much from the Church's. Generally, these small groups are ignored, but if they bring negative attention to the Church and the Ortothan religion, or are in direct conflict with the Church's morals, such as murdering innocents to provide blood for Rakmo-Luzin, then the Church will send warriors to intervene. Details on these warriors and what exactly the Church in general is capable of are sparse, although most of their members are proficient in at least one form of occult practice. Thaumaturgical or magical rituals are common, particularly to commune with various minor deities in the Ortothan pantheon. In combination with the alien technology available to them, it's believed that, if called to action, the Church could be a fearsome threat. Fortunately, the Foundation doesn't believe that they will ever use these capabilities against our world. They have, however, heard rumors that the Church possesses the knowledge of a ritual that could summon an avatar of Rakmo-Luzin himself to Earth, which could potentially be very worrisome. Of all the known extraterrestrial civilizations, approximately 8% of them follow the Ortothan belief system in some way, with these civilizations ranging in technological capability from being near human to being beyond all theorized levels. As mentioned, not all worship in the same way as the Church of the Second High-Toth, with a number firmly believing in the necessity of murder in order to provide Rakmo-Luzin with blood. Conflicts between extraterrestrial Ortothan civilizations are not unheard of. Singular individuals or small groups sometimes make their way to Earth for various reasons, but no civilization aside from the ones that tried to colonize Earth long ago have been present in our solar system. This is apparently due to our overall lack of valuable resources and noteworthy features compared to other stellar regions. Overall, the religion stands at sort of an odd point as far as the SCP Foundation is concerned. On one hand, they certainly seem to care about the fate of our universe and want to keep it safe from harm, with the majority of them being quite peaceful. But, on the other hand, they are still a group messing around with things far beyond human normalcy, and the anomalous has a tendency to go deeply awry. That being said, capturing members of the Church of the Second High-Toth isn't really a high priority for the Foundation, compared to plenty of other tasks. And, if things do really go wrong, such as in SCP-1548, we'll likely be pretty glad that they're around.
Your mic's muted, by the way, just in case you're talking, so.
Yeah, I had it muted as so you don't hear the background noise.
No worries, man. So yeah, that's the intro to the group. There's a few other videos that Tess does that mentions the Church of the Second High-Toth in a cursory fashion. But the second video for the evening, it's pretty action-packed, and it deals with the Church of the Second High-Toth and the Ortothans in a cursory fashion as well. So that's kind of why I wanted to show this first, as like a preface for the next video. Oh, you were kidding me. Alright, give me 1 second. It is not working for some reason.
Technical difficulties. It happens. Yeah, I've got a filter on my Streamlabs, so it only picks up my voice. I think on Discord you can hear all the clinking. But welcome in, everybody. Thanks for all the doom scrollers. Let's see. Hold on, let me.
SCP-4547 Exterminants. As I've said before, we've seen countless examples of Earth coming to a horrific and awful end at the hands of anomalies in the SCP universe. What we don't see quite as often, however, are examples where the Foundation comes across another timeline or planet that has ended, and has to piece together what happened. SCP-4547 does not take place on Earth, but rather shows a ruined planet and devastated species, proving just how quickly things can get out of control. SCP-4547 is listed as Apollyon class, which generally just means that it cannot be contained in any way by the Foundation, so there's no point in trying. It also possesses one of the shortest containment procedures on the wiki, simply listing that interstellar exploration should avoid it. This is because SCP-4547 takes place in the Ad Astra per Aspera canon, a timeline in which humanity abandons Earth after an anomalous disaster and takes to the stars instead, with the Foundation leading the way. This story takes place at a time prior to the abandonment of Earth, when the Foundation is still taking early steps on their journeys among the stars. SCP-4547 is a planet located approximately 15 light-years from our solar system, discovered by the Foundation in August of 2032. It was formerly the home planet of the Terran-U, a sapient humanoid alien species, prior to an FK class or Broken Foundation scenario that caused their extinction. A Broken Foundation scenario is one in which an anomaly management group, such as the Foundation, is either destroyed or otherwise fails in their goals, resulting in other disasters that wipe out the planet. The planet itself is not anomalous, but is now host to a large number of anomalous phenomena, making it an SCP in its own right. The Foundation had been receiving radio signals sent by the Terran-U since 1942, and had managed to keep them secret from the public. These transmissions abruptly ceased in 1991, however, with no further word from them afterwards. Once the Foundation started venturing out from our solar system, they decided to check in on the Terran-U to find out why they stopped transmitting, and to see if their planet could host humanity. The Terran-U themselves are sapient and have a humanoid body structure, and they had an organization similar to the Foundation known as the Tihonum, which likely translates to Protectorate. They were dedicated to the general focus of protecting Terran-U society and life, including against dangerous anomalies. But unlike the Foundation, they did not keep the anomalous a secret from the general public, leading to higher integration of anomalies into their culture. Unfortunately, it was discovered quickly after arriving on the planet that things had gone awry, and there's now a bunch of different anomalies present on the planet that resulted in the extinction of the Terran-U. The Foundation took some time to look into some of the different phenomena to determine what exactly happened, so we're given a short list of some of the world-ending anomalies. First was a dead hand system of a major Terran-U world superpower, which was designed to ensure mutually assured destruction through nuclear weapons in case the end of society was detected. During a transition between heads of state, this system malfunctioned and initiated nuclear war. The resulting war lasted approximately 5 hours, and by its conclusion, over 10,000 nuclear weapons had been detonated, destroying most of the Tihonum bases and most major metropolitan areas. The exact functioning mechanics of this system are unknown, but it's believed to have functioned using a solid-state drive with a demon embedded into it, because this is the SCP universe, set to monitor for specific parameters. These parameters were set too specific, and a minor change in government triggered the dead hand. This, of course, was the big one, that caused the destruction of the Tihonum and let loose all the other problems. The second problem came from a collection of organic nanites designed to improve the anatomy of the Terran-U. Unfortunately, Difficulties in implementing these improvements caused partial brain death, increased aggression, inhibition of social norms, and cannibalistic impulses. Or, in other words, a zombie rage virus. Furthermore, the affected individuals are able to enter stasis indefinitely, negating the need to breathe or eat. The Tihanum had kept a small sample of these nanites on hand, which were, of course, released during the nuclear war, becoming airborne. As a result, 49% of the Terran U population became infected, meaning that there's an estimated 1 to 2 billion of these infected creatures remaining on the planet presently. It's also noted that these nanites are capable of infecting humans. Next, we have a large glass model of the planet's solar system, which when not properly aligned would project a non-corporeal herbicidal field, destroying local plant matter. This field would expand based upon the amount of time spent unaligned, and while it was kept maintained by the Tihanum, that obviously stopped when this all went down. As a result, all of the plant life on the planet was rapidly killed off within 3 weeks, and although there are some remnants of the Tihanum that have tried to realign the machine, they've been unsuccessful. Fourth is a collection of 7 humanoid entities standing 500 meters tall, bearing noted similarities to SCP-231, the 7 females that were associated with the Children of the Scarlet King, most of which have given birth to increasingly horrible disasters. All 7 of these entities had been in a dormant state prior to the world's end, and when the Tihanum saw that things were getting loose, they apparently decided to nuke them to neutralize them. Instead, they only served to awaken them. The 7 entities identify themselves as the Kive Iveng Tun Karen, which translates roughly to the 7 spawn of the Red Ruler. They took control of the remnants of Terran U society and granted a resistance to many of the anomalous phenomena on the planet to any Terran U that served them. At some point, all 7 entities went to war with one another, with only one emerging victorious. One of the losers was infected with these zombie nanites, while the victor is one of the few remaining sapient life forms on the planet. Next is an intensely virulent mimetic cult centered around the number 5.
Oh boy, the starfish.
The exact origin of this cult is unknown, but similar organizations were observed by the Tihanum prior to the end of the world. It's believed that after another K-class scenario, these organizations heavily mutated into this current version. One of the 7 spawn of the Red Ruler became infected by this cult, altering the details of its cult in order to follow the principles of this fifthist cult. The document mentions that there has been further research into this cult, but it's been expunged as a lethal info hazard, linking instead to the document on SCP-3125, the Cosmic Starfish, the God of Fifthism, and the ultimate anti-meme. Finally, we have an apex-tier pluripotent entity, or some sort of deity in other words, that is inimical to atmospheric conditions on the planet. Somehow it became neutralized during the nuclear war, and immediately following this, weather conditions greatly changed, with violent and intense meteorological events being observed at a high frequency. This includes abnormally large storms, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and spontaneously generated hurricanes. These phenomena have not abated in the time between the deity's neutralization and the present. To summarize that all then, we have a planet obliterated by nuclear war, most of the population converted to cannibalistic zombies, all of the plant matter erased, a couple of the Children of the Scarlet King hanging around, one of which is also a zombie, a massive fifthist cult on the planet, and constant storming, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and hurricanes. To say this planet is screwed is quite the understatement. Approximately 70% of the Terran-U population immediately died during the nuclear war and subsequent events, with another 20% dying shortly after, thanks to the meteorological events. A large majority of these casualties were reanimated thanks to the nanites, becoming essentially zombies. 1 year later, the remaining living population of the planet was in the service of the surviving spawn of the Red Ruler, practicing cannibalism as a result of the complete famine caused by the removal of all plant matter. Approximately 5 years after the apocalypse, the last Terran-U on the surface of the planet died, and at this point, almost all life entirely on the planet was dead. The remaining life was predominantly highly anomalous. The rest of the anomalous phenomena not mentioned earlier are either neutralized or destroyed thanks to the various effects of the apocalypse. A limited number of them have been recovered, but the majority remain on the planet and are not expected to require containment in any capacity. The most notable of these was a now extinct form of plant that formerly possessed sapience and psionic abilities. When consumed by a Terran-U, it enhanced the psionic capacity of the consumer. The plant was widely recognized among the society as another intelligent life form, and was integrated into the society, but was completely killed off along with the rest of the plant matter. That all brings us to the original exploration log of the Foundation discovering all this. Orbital imaging of the planet showed that it had experienced multiple K-class scenarios, but they couldn't get a good view of the surface, so they sent down a task force of 5 individuals to check it out, with an AI running their ship and managing things. The team heads down in a pod and are equipped with 8 hours of oxygen. The pod lands and the doors open onto a heavily ruined cityscape, noted as being advanced, but near totally destroyed. They begin walking down the street, taking pictures along the way, and there seems to be no signs of any inhabitants. Since the signals they were receiving from here stopped in the early 90s, and it's 15 light years away, they guess that it's been about 60 years since the disaster. One of them remarks that even if there were survivors from the initial fallout, they wouldn't have made it to today, as this is an angry planet with storms the size of continents. The AI had predicted that the weather should at least be clear for the few hours they're here, so they continue on. Eventually, they come across a sign that one of the team recognizes as being written in Ortothan. The Ortothans are a universal religion that support a guardian deity named Rakhmu Luzon in his battle against the Voratut, hostile entities from outside this universe. The Ortothans are represented on Earth through the organization the Church of the Second Hytoth, and I have my own video on them if you're interested in learning more.
Shock.
The Ortothans here seem to follow similar tenets, but appear to be a slightly different sect. They enter into the ruined building, finding several large murals depicting scenes from Ortothan mythology, such as the creation of the Second Hytoth, the death of several of the Korotusa, and the Vorotut. The murals are in surprisingly good condition considering the situation, and in the back, a team member finds several books written in Ortothan. They place them in cases to be grabbed by a drone and continue on, proceeding until they find a large mass of Terran-U bodies, which are assembled in a large pile. While looking over the massive pile of corpses, the bodies begin to twitch and move, with most of them incapable of standing. The entities begin to move towards the team, and one of them mentions that they were informed that there were zombies here. The AI chimes in to say that they aren't exactly zombies, but highly similar, with no higher mental functions and violent cannibalistic tendencies. The team opens fire onto the zombies, swiftly dispatching any of them that pose a threat before firing an explosive round into the mass of corpses. They remark on it being kind of pathetic that this is all that's left of the Terran U, and they continue moving, turning a corner and seeing a large, vaguely reptilian creature. It's four-legged, with a skeletal head, and bears similarity to SCP-1124, which itself bears similarities to SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile.
The big boy.
The creature sniffs the air before moving towards the team, who immediately scramble into a nearby skyscraper and up the stairs. They emerge on the 5th floor and cautiously go to the windows to look outside, seeing the creature walking around outside before laying down in front of the building. Since they only have 3 hours of oxygen left, it seems their exploration is going to be cut short. The AI sends a lander down to pick them up on the roof of the building, and the team explores the rest of the skyscraper on their way up. They collect several documents and notes until they look out one of the windows and see something on the horizon. In the distance is a vaguely humanoid figure with large branching horns resembling tree branches. The horns on one side of its head have been damaged and broken off, and it's estimated to be 500 meters tall. This is one of the spawn of the Red Ruler, the one that survived. It seems to be moving towards the city, so they decide to evac before it gets here. The team's conclusion is that there's nothing here but cockroaches, even if they are zombie cockroaches. Despite there not being much going on the surface, the team continued to do several more explorations of the planet, until they found out the location of a potential unbreached Tihanum bunker. They were sent back down to find the bunker, breach it, and recover what information they could from inside. The bunker was located in the side of a mountain, and their AI quickly set to work cracking open the door lock, remarking that the cryptography here is not advanced. A storm starts to pick up speed while they wait, and they rush inside as soon as the doors are open, entering into an airlock. The group is sprayed with an unknown liquid, likely a disinfectant, and then washed off. One of the team attempts to communicate with the bunker's computer system by speaking in Orthothan, to which the AI responds that it believes them to be Terran U and allows them access to the bunker. It seems that whoever programmed the AI didn't realize that Orthothan was an extraterrestrial language, rather interpreting that anyone who speaks it here must be native, with clearance to access the bunker. The airlock doors open and the team enters into the main bunker as lights flick on, revealing a large central computer terminal. The AI welcomes them to Bunker 00003, primary Tihanum installation, safeguarding the future of the Terran U, and states its name as Srungsiu. They ask Srungsiu what the purpose of this installation is, to which it responds that this is a secondary defense against the end of the world, designed to allow Terran U society to continue following the reestablishment of global order, in coordination with a series of 9 other bunkers. They then ask how many of the other bunkers are online, but unfortunately, this is the only one that remains. Further questions reveal that this is meant to simply hold a number of people in safety until the time comes to repopulate the world. Functional systems here include the power system, the lights, various defenses, computer systems, the AI itself, communications, and suspended animation systems. Asking for footage of the suspended animation complex, they see a number of pods containing unconscious Terran U, and the AI reveals that there are a total of 100,000 Terran U here. They are guided towards one of the suspended Terran U that is capable of speaking Orthothan, while 2 of the team head back outside to alert their ship AI that there are thousands of living Terran U here. Their ship doesn't have enough space for 100,000, but they also don't want to leave them here while the planet is breaking apart. For now, they're just going to try to get one of them to communicate, and Strung Siu begins waking one of them up. The chamber holding one unseals, and the Terran Yu within steps out, clutching their head. They have a short conversation with Strung Siu in their native language before turning to the team, asking if they speak Ortothan. The one team member that speaks it says that Koru Tusa's message traveled far and visited their world as well. The Terran Yu introduces themselves as Terangi Sasulpe, the most senior personnel here who speaks Ortothan. He says that they stand on a world called Moara, and it's good to know that the gods have guided them here. The team member reveals, however, that there is only one Ortothan god remaining, Rakhmu Lusen, and the last of the others died 32 years ago from being swarmed by the Vorotut. They then inform him that he's likely been in stasis for 56 years, and the world outside is still utterly ruined. The team outside discusses briefly what to do, and the leader says that the only sane thing to do here is take these people back to Earth. He says that if they need to show up on the Foundation's doorstep with thousands of refugees, then that's what they'll do. When asked about what they'll do if they can't convince the higher-ups, the leader quotes a Latin phrase that makes up their team name, translating to, "If I cannot bend the will of heaven, then I will raise hell." He doesn't care if he has to bring the Chaos Insurgency here to do this, these people are coming to Earth. The translator tells Terangi that they're going to take them back to their home, but it will take some time. Terangi responds that Rakhmu Lusen guided them here, and he will rouse the others. The team departs the bunker and makes their way back to their ship, beginning preparations to contact the Interstellar Task Force Command, the Ethics Committee, and the O5 Council. Sometime later, the Ethics Committee and the O5 Council got together to discuss what to do with the Terran Yu. The main problem is that currently, humanity is not aware of the Foundation's capacity for interstellar travel, but instead are confined to Earth's solar system. The Foundation bringing a bunch of aliens back home would quickly reveal that they can travel outside of the solar system, but at the same time, they can't just keep the Terran Yu inside of the Foundation alone, being a clear case of indentured servitude. Humanity isn't ready for interstellar travel, but there is one option available to them, and that's that anomalous plant that was present on the Terran Yu planet. Presumably the Tihanum bunker still contained some of this in safekeeping. The plant would allow the Terran Yu pilots, with its psionic properties, to psionically locate Earth and guide Terran Yu vessels through subspace, arriving at Earth within 1 month. Apparently, prior to the task force arrival, this would not have been possible for the Terran Yu because they were not familiar with human neural oscillations. Now that they've been exposed to them, however, they can use the plants to psionically locate the largest source of human neural oscillation patterns, which is Earth. A cover story for both humanity and most of the Terran Yu would be that collected radio broadcasts from Earth allowed for the simulation of human neural oscillations, suggesting that the Foundation was not involved in rescuing the Terran Yu, and they arrived here on their own. Since the psionic plant can't be used to travel somewhere where there isn't a large presence of familiar sapient life, it's not a big concern for humanity to learn about, so the O5 Council readily accepted this plan. 8 years later, a report is written up about the present state of the Terran Yu. They are the 4th major sapient species to inhabit the Sol system, and the only species not native to the system, following humanity, the now absent Venusians, and the Martians. Terran Yu society is now primarily defined around the diaspora caused by the destruction of their home planet Moara, and it's not expected that any Terranu will ever return there, nor will any humans ever step foot on the planet. These unique feelings of total loss have led to a distinct but thriving culture. As they started to settle in our solar system, it was common for them to settle in growing or newly founded locations, as much of humanity was settling into different planets in the system. This was primarily evident in the terraforming of Callisto, one of the moons of Jupiter, designed to mimic Moara. It now holds 51% of the remaining Terranu population, with Mars holding 24%. Other Terranu can be found elsewhere in the system, primarily in large groups and communities, and only a few have established permanent residence in locations that are primarily human or Martian. Their culture can be described in broad strokes as having two primary focuses: the celebration of destroyed elements of Terranu culture, and efforts to ensure the continued survival of the Terranu species into the future. These have become the primary focus of the Tihanum in the Sol system, and since the majority of the surviving Terranu were directly affiliated with the Tihanum, these goals are common throughout the species. There have been multiple Terranu art movements to commemorate Moara in a variety of forms, the largest of which has been an attempt at terraforming Callisto to mimic Moara. There has also been an increased focus on family among Terranu, resulting in a general tendency towards marriage and child rearing. It's noted that Terranu reproduction is significantly different from human, and that the Terranu have 6 biological sexes, each capable of reproducing with any of the other 5. The majority of Terranu languages have gone extinct, with only one remaining in common usage. All living Terranu speak it, and other languages have only survived through recorded media and bilingual Terranu. Orthothan also remains popular among them, although it has been growing in popularity in general in the Sol system. Their society currently designates 3 distinct divisions of Terranu: the survivors, those that perished on Moara, and those born here in the Sol system. Of those born here are commonly viewed with great hope, as few of the original survivors believed that there would be a future beyond their home planet. Of these newborn, one of the most important is the 7-year-old Teirangi Karishma, the first Terranu born in Sol, named after the Foundation task force member that made first contact with their species. The majority of the Terranu immigrants to the Sol system tend to follow an anomalous religion, with the majority following either the Church of the Second High-Toth or the Church of the Broken God. A smaller majority follow religions similar to the Children of the Scarlet King or Fifthism, and almost all of these follow unique traditions, rather than pre-existing human traditions. Terranu integration into human and Martian society was aided in large part by the Church of the Second High-Toth, the scripture of which was already well accepting of other alien cultures. The prior existence of worship of the Korutuza among the Terranu further aided in this, giving legitimacy to the belief system. The Church of the Second High-Toth also offered large amounts of aid to the refugees shortly after their arrival. The same occurred in a similar capacity with the Church of the Broken God, but polarizing differences between the two species' worship of Mechane prevented full integration, and led to the formation of a 4th major denomination, one distinguished by embracing advanced technology while completely rejecting the practice of augmentation. The Blood Children and Fifth Philosophy religions are similar to the Children of the Scarlet King and Fifthism, and have gained prominence following the destruction of Moara. Of note is that the Blood Children are significantly more peaceful and less violent than the Children of the Scarlet King, and do not share in the same eschatological beliefs. They state that this is because the world has already ended once. The ruler's spawn came into their kingdom and died on their throne. In summary, the species is generally described as hopeful and dedicated to the continued survival of their race. This is an interesting article, one that front-loads a lot of doom and gloom before turning the corner and revealing that not everything in the universe is completely awful. It makes you believe at the start that this nightmarish planet is purely just evidence of a horrible apocalypse, and nothing good remains, which is rather par for the course for SCPs. Instead, you discover that there are some of these people left, and the Foundation actually does the right thing in rescuing them. The Ad Astra per Aspera canon isn't inherently optimistic, as there's plenty of doom and gloom to be had beyond the solar system, but the Foundation knows better than most how bad anomalous disasters can be. There's no need to leave a species to genocide when something can be done about it.
Here, here. Well said.
And that's all I got for the evening.
Oh, very nice. It was a good evening. I was wondering, are there any SCPs regarding this Valentine's Day coming up?
You know, I've actually never thought of that, but I could probably do some digging and find something, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's something. Nice. Yeah, that was a good segment today. I like the extraterrestrial behind it, and yeah, she was good. Good stuff.
Aliens!
Thanks for all y'all that were able to make it. Those that doom scrolled, appreciate you guys being here, and for all you guys that are watching later on, well, this is episode 6, and we're wrapping up. Appreciate your time, Kavzar, and showcasing some good material.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here as always.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to sign out.